Hey kids, it's Old Man shouting at clouds, and now with others too. Chatting about the CFL is what they're going to do. Some have no contacts and others have no clues. Everyone will tell us all their quirky football views. Hear what Old Man and others know. It's the CFL Outsiders show.
Hey, GT. What are we going to do this week?
Same thing we do every week, old man. Take over the CFL.
Hey, kids. Welcome back to another episode of the CFL Outsiders. I remain, as always, your 100% unbiased, completely impartial, and semi-satisfied co-host, Old Man Shouting at Clouds. Joining me this week, as usual, is GT.
Hey, everyone, how you doing? Just to let you know, I'm probably, as I said to someone else, one of 6 people in the GTA that doesn't care about the Blue Jays.
And speaking of someone who may care about the Blue Jays, it's MJ.
I was just thinking to myself, I'm so stressed. I'm not used to October baseball. I'm happy to be watching baseball, happy to be watching football. It's a whole balancing act.
Yeah, busy time of year for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think maybe we'll just jump into this week. It's a shorter week of games and not quite so much news, so we'll see how long we're actually here today. I will give the news on my fantasy update. Last week was the first week of the playoffs in the CFL Podcast Fantasy League, and the Old Man's moving on to round 2, apparently.
Yay!
Yay.
Very happy about that. Yay, raise the roof. Scored 119.1, and amazingly enough, I had to beat Cooper Trooper 42, who I believe is Ryan Coop out of the Canadian Football Countdown. 2 weeks in a row I had to beat him. I found out he was in the final the last 2 years, so I'm feeling not bad. And got about a 10-point victory over him this week. It worked out. I was a little concerned because I put Herslow down as one of my main contributors, and when Arbuckle went out, I thought, but it worked out. So I'm moving on to round 2. I've got Rouge Daltz. I'm not sure who the actual person is, but they're from Rouge Radio, probably Dalton or something. Yeah. And apparently we're both rookies. So who knows? One more and I might make it to the final. How about you folks? Did anybody else play this weekend?
Yeah, I played this week. I had a really bad week. I was just under 85, 84.7. My big mistake is I had Drew Brown, who got like 0.08 points and got benched early in the game. Yeah, that was horrible. I picked a receiver for BC, forgetting that Katoy was coming back, so that Canadian receiver didn't play. Yeah. So that didn't help me. But I did have Dedrick Mills, Greg Bell, and Keandre Smith, all who had really good games, and I had Mills as my captain, so that doubled up his points, which helped me. And I had the Hamilton defense, which got like 20 points. So that was, I picked the right defense. So yeah, that was good. And I had Herslow as well, I really thought that Toronto-Hamilton game was going to be a shootout between both of them. And well, one of them did it anyway. So,
yeah.
Well,
might have been if
I'm at the bottom with 69 points.
Brown or Arbuckle at quarterback?
I had Herslow and I had Arbuckle, and Arbuckle as my captain with a grand total of 0 points, and I had the Ottawa defense.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It's just other people were more expensive, so thank goodness I had Smith and Bell on there.
Yeah, it was an interesting week to watch the scores in the league, because everybody's, even if they're out of the playoffs, they're still putting scores in and it still shows up. And of the 17 people, there was a demarcation about, I don't know, probably 9 or 10 down the list. Everybody that was there was 95 or above that, and everybody below it was about 60 and below. And the difference was everybody below it had either Arbuckle or Brown at quarterback.
Everyone got lulled into Brown's 400-yard game. And
Yeah.
Well,
we'll talk about that when we get to the game, but him getting pulled was fairly amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll let you know next week because I've still got stuff to fight for. So that's that. But moving on to sort of more of the news. MJ, you were going to talk to us about some of the signings and releases that have happened as we're coming down to the wire here.
Yeah, I was laughing to myself because GT usually does this and does like a much better job. But I'll give you the highlights, or as in some cases, the lowlights. So Edmonton, big week in Edmonton. One's overshadowed by the other. Big Edmonton news. Connor McDavid signed 2-year deal. Also signing a 2-year deal is Rankin. So Edmonton fans, you have Rankin and McDavid for 2 more years. The Riders signed American kicker Michael Hughes. So
Can't
that
imagine
might be,
why.
well, I saw today on the injury report that Lawler still did not participate. So
Yes. And I think the Campbell Fair experiment is probably over.
well, we're gonna talk about this in the game, but I'm gonna give him a free pass because you know what, Blanchard had a really terrible first game for the Elks and then settled down.
Yeah.
So we'll see. The Alouettes. I talk this guy into his existence sometimes. Cameron Dukes was released, and they've signed former Jaguar quarterback E.G. Perry. No, not E.G. E.J. Perry. So not sure what Montreal needs more quarterbacks for, but there we are. The Stamps released defensive back Tyler Richardson, and the Argos have signed receiver Ezekiel. Oh, I'm gonna say his name.
T-Day.
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 See, this is so that's kind of the big names and what was going on this week. So actually, quite a few transactions happening.
Yeah, that last minute stuff. Well, how do you feel about the Richardson release, GT?
The backfield's been pretty bad the last few weeks, and so I wasn't paying close enough attention because of the games, the way they went, to watch every single play and say that guy, or like those guys. But so somebody paid the price. I guess it was Tyler Richardson.
Yeah. Obviously, the coaches were paying close enough attention to say that guy.
Yeah, that's their job.
Okay. Alrighty then. The other thing we were talking about a little bit is wondering, we're, I guess 6 weeks away from the Grey Cup now, month and a half, and still no halftime announcement. Are we going to have a show this year? What do you figure?
Yeah, this is, I think, is this as late as the Saskatchewan debacle a few years ago? It's pretty close if it isn't already at that stage, right? Like this is getting to be a little bit ridiculous. I'm tending to think the same thing that you said last week, old man, where you said you think that they had somebody they canceled and now they've been scrambling to try to figure out who's next, who's available. But yeah, it's going to be messy unless I don't know who they're going to pull out of the hat at this stage. I really don't.
Well, I hear Rush is going back on tour.
Well, I was going to say,
with the two of them and the drum machine.
Exactly. Unless they finally get Rush to come and play one song for the entire halftime. That would be that then, right? Just one track. That's it. 15 minutes long. That's good.
That'll do it. Yeah. To give credit where it's due, that wasn't me that mentioned that last week. That was MJ. So.
Oh, was it? I apologize.
And I think that maybe I agree too.
Yeah, what a mess. The NFL has already announced that Bad Bunny is playing halftime in February. So they're already ahead of the CFL. And considering how early they announced Green Day and Jonas Brothers,
Jonas Brothers was in the spring. It was in before the season even started. And if you remember, I talked about that when we first talked about it. That was when Randy publicly said, we're going to be doing this like this from now on because you need to have your act signed in today's world well in advance because of scheduling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is how it's going to happen from here on in. And there we are a year later, and it's 5 weeks to game, and we don't even have an act yet.
This is just like the smoke and mirrors of the new CFL. But I honestly do think that someone was booked and they backed out. And maybe there's lots of 90s bands touring right now that are Canadian. I'm sure you can rustle up the Tea Party or something, right?
Yeah.
Bryan Adams, Bryan Adams was just he's on tour in Canada.
Yeah. I have no idea. I mean, if I remember right, this time last year they had not just the entertainment for the halftime announced, that came way early, but they had all the Grey Cup weekend entertainment announced. They had the Thursday night, the Friday night, all of that, and it's just crickets now. So apparently the league's been too busy trying to change up rules and sign new deals and sponsorships to bother getting maybe they'll walk and chew gum.
The thing is that Grey Cup week is actually not league controlled. It's controlled by the bidding club. So this is all about Winnipeg. This really,
Okay.
it makes the league look bad, but it's really the Winnipeg Grey Cup committee that does all of that, including all of the acts. That it's the whole festival and everything is handled by whoever wins the bid. So this is really on the Blue Bombers organization not to have this together, not the league itself. So yeah, that's the same thing that happened in Saskatchewan. Because I remember the one year in Toronto, it was whatever year it was, early 2010s. I think it was 2011 or something like that. And or maybe even earlier than that. And they also had the same situation where they were scrambling. And finally, they ended up announcing Lenny Kravitz, if you remember that. And that was very last minute. And they overpaid. Like the story was that they paid him a ton of money because it was like, we need somebody now. So they just opened the checkbook and paid him a wackadoo
Remember
to play.
how scandalous that was because he wasn't Canadian?
Yeah.
Scandalous.
Well, thank you for that, GT. I did not realize that it was the Grey Cup committee that handled that.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll quit bitching about the CFL on that
Okay,
one.
so that's on the Bombers. Bombers, get your act together.
Yeah.
Literally your act together.
Literally. And like just even some opening acts would do. Just a little teaser like acts would be helpful.
I don't know.
Quickly, do you think Tate McRae is playing Calgary next year?
I don't know who Tate McRae is. Bro. So I don't know.
She
Can't
is a
help you.
very big country singer from Calgary.
Okay.
All the young kids like her. Very popular.
Okay.
Sounds like what demographic they'd like to try and give a reason to come out to the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
Well,
that
anyway,
might work.
Amar Doman's making everyone else look silly.
I'd rather it be, if they're doing local Calgary, I'd rather it be Tegan and Sarah, but whatever.
Yes. That would also be good.
Yeah. And I am so far out of my musical depths here that I don't even know who anybody out of Winnipeg they could pick who's newer than, say, Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Part of my conspiracy theory is that because they partnered with Drake earlier this year on merch, they were trying to get him to do halftime show.
Yeah.
But after Super Bowl last year, like there'd be no way. That would be so embarrassing.
Part of my conspiracy theory is the Bombers realize that they're out of it and just don't care anymore. All right. Unless either of you wants to give them any suggestions.
No, I think we did that show already.
Yeah, we did that a while yet.
So they can roll the tape.
Yeah.
So let's move along and talk about something else here. MJ, you said you've got lots of exciting news with flag football going on right now.
Yes. Oldman tried to leave this off the rap sheet, but as your intrepid flag football reporter, I am here to give you the news.
Yes, I assure you it's nothing malicious about it, just old man brain. That's all.
I have two pieces of flag football news. The first one's quick. It's that at the Bills halftime halftime, the U.S. and Canada's women's flag football teams played a game in front of. So the good what a great exposure for our Canadian women's team. So I didn't see how they did, which makes me think they lost. But what a great experience.
That was yesterday, right? Today is Monday, or is today Tuesday?
I think
today is Tuesday because we record on Tuesdays. That should be the first time. So that was 2 days ago, and I couldn't find a lick of news about it on any of the websites that I saw. I never saw a thing, and so that's a little surprising. Even if they lost, I'm surprised that it didn't get some kind of mention in the regular sports or even the regular news.
Yeah, I just like the the Flag Football Canada's Instagram account and TikTok were posting, but other than that, nobody said anything except for the NFL who were saying things. And the NFL, which brings me to my second piece of news about how the NFL is just outdoing us and everything, is that the NFL has announced it is creating a professional flag football league for men and women. And they are going to start it in about 2 years. They're hoping to start it. And they are going to have, they want to have a whole pipeline. They want to do youth, high school, college, and professional. They said they have colleges in the US that are wanting to have flag football programs, and they have interest internationally at universities who want to have flag football programs. The NFL is also hosting international games in Mexico, Europe, Brazil, and Australia. And they said that they are wanting to push flag football into Asia in the next few years. So they are all in on the flag football train. And what a swing and a miss for Flag Football Canada and the CFL.
Well, if
Well,
the
again, it
NFL
comes.
sees them, go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I was going to say again, it comes down to dollars, right? And they have the dollars to do it. And I'm sure they view it as yet another way that they can brand themselves and make a whack a dough. And so they're going to do it. That's what it comes down to.
They don't
And they
miss an
have the money to
opportunity.
lose to begin with.
Yeah. But it's good too, though, because frankly, it does expand the world of football. And
Yep.
I'm sure it's because we're focusing on flag now, but I'm hearing more and more stories about people that wouldn't be playing professional football if they hadn't got started in flag. Trying to think, I've heard 2 or 3 players. The one that sticks with me, of course, because it's Saskatchewan, is Joe Robicelli, who apparently played flag right up until I think he was 22, 23, and someone said to him, "You're good enough, you should be playing tackle." So he played 1 year of college and is now on the CFL at least, and looks very talented. So who knows?
Well, for parents, flag is cheap.
Yes.
You need a mouth guard and you need cleats. And there's a lower risk of concussion and CTE, and this is very well known, and people are very reluctant to put their kids in tackle football for a decent amount of reasons. It's not even concussion, just the injuries alone that my relatives' kids have sustained playing tackle football through the years. But flag it's a very popular where we live. It's massive, and the NFL is really, how hard would it be for the CFL to partner just a little bit with Football Canada? You would just get your logo onto things. You could have sponsored the women's team to go down to Buffalo and had your
Yeah, you're in a
CFL
partnership
logo
with
on
them.
that. Yeah, right? The Bills stuff was just here in Toronto, so why couldn't you have? So, I just feel like there's some opportunities being missed, and especially if they're going to start doing university and college programs for flag. Like
Yes.
what an opportunity for some kids to have a full ride to university playing flag football.
Yeah, that would be great, and there's no reason that it shouldn't happen. Well, congratulations to the flag people and the fact that they're getting more attention. We got one other thing to talk about, but I just thought of this. It's not on the rundown or anything, but I wanted to ask you, GT. I'm guessing you were at the game for Toronto?
I was.
Did you get the swag T-shirt?
No, I arrived later.
Yeah.
So they were gone. It was as busy a game as I've seen in a long time, and it was massive confusion about how to get into the building that day, even more so than normal. Again, they've reduced the number of gates available because of the construction for next year's World Cup. So the stadium is down to like 2 entrances, and it was complete confusion. As I said, I would have just thrown the shirt back, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. Have you seen the shirts?
I did.
You see
Yeah.
them?
Yeah.
Did you see the Peace Collective one that said football has no borders?
I didn't see that one. The one I saw was the future of football, with the evolution of football, starting with a CFL player and ending up with 3 Bills quarterbacks at the top of the line. Yeah. What was the Peace Collective one?
It said football has no borders.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's what's just, yeah.
Like the most tone deaf.
Yeah, I would think so. Anyway, we're here for good stuff, not depressing stuff.
We're here for a good time.
I got to say though, I saw a picture on, I think it was on CFL Reddit of of the shirt with the evolution thing, and I thought, yeah, just how much more can you possibly disrespect the team that you own? We were going to have a little bit of fun here. GT suggested a thought exercise we should do, so I'm going to let you carry on and tell us what we're doing here, GT.
All right. Well, a few weeks ago, when, of course, the world all changed for us, for most CFL fans, they introduced a bunch of rule changes. So I thought, why don't we do here on the show one rule change that we would like to see? A crazy, ridiculous, goofy rule, but an actual rule that we kind of thought about and we think would actually help the game. and would help the game and help the league. So, because I've had a few in my little brain for quite a while, and one of them they actually implemented, which was the Rouge. And I think the Rouge, as we talked about when we were there, I've liked that, and I've said that rule should be changed to this rule, except for it shouldn't, it touches the ground, it should still be in play. So that was one. But my second rule that I think would, again, do a bunch of things. They are talking about the league wants more touchdowns. So I think this would actually increase more touchdowns. I think it would increase excitement and awareness, and it would increase the differentiation and the Canadianization of the game because it would be drastically different from any other league. And that would be, it's very simple rule. If a team has less than a converted touchdown lead, they are not allowed to take a knee. No matter what time of the game it is, no matter at what point of the game it is, you are not allowed to take a knee. The whole point of football is to put the ball in play, for the offense to put the ball in play, and for the defense to take it back. Taking a knee takes that basic concept of football out of the game. So if there's 1 second left in the game and you're up by 8 points or less, because it's a converted 2-point converted touchdown, you have to put the ball in play so that the defense has the chance to scoop and score or do something, intercept if you're going to be goofy enough to throw a pass. But if you're just going to have your quarterback drop back, he's got to run around. He can get tackled. He can fumble. The defense can pick it up and run it back and score. So even with 1 second left, you have to put the ball in play. And I think that changes us from every other league. I think it allows for more points. I think it makes that last 3 minutes even more exciting than it is now because it's going to be even more chaos. And I think that's a great rule. That's a rule I think the league should and could implement quite easily.
For what it's worth, my reaction is I don't know that it would change a lot at the end of the game, but I think it would be a heck of a statement.
Yeah, how often it would happen is probably minimal, but the mere possibility that it would happen, it is, again, adds back to that, quirkiness we all love, that fact that it's possible that you could do something like this. It's not quite a kick out of the end zone, but it's awful close because it's possible.
That, like I said, I can see that wouldn't do any damage, and it could be an interesting talking point, and it would be a good statement, I think. How about you, MJ? Have you thought of any, or?
Mine's about kicking. And I know the kickers are feeling left out of the game and they're feeling a bit sad. So I want to kick it back to 1919. And as a former rugby player, I want to bring back the punt out. So after a touchdown, wherever the ball crossed the line is where you need to kick your convert from.
The rugby rule stuff, yeah?
Right.
Yeah, the punt out. I think that would make, you'd have to be a little more innovative with your play calling. And now that the goalposts are moving back, they won't be in the way of the middle of the field. So you'll be able to have straight downtown field conversions after. I think that would the kickers would really have to work hard and teams would have to scheme.
And would you go with letting the kickers kick it from the point parallel to where it went in the end zone, or would you go full rugby and say the player who scored the touch has to kick the convert?
Oh, no. The kickers are already feeling left out. So
okay. Yes.
They can come out and kick it.
I can't remember where it was that I heard, but I heard someone this week saying that apparently Sean White was asked about the rule changes, and he said, well, the good thing is I know my retirement date.
Yeah.
Okay, well, mine falls probably somewhere between what you were saying about weird, wacky rules and stuff that's actually good for the league. But I'm completely serious about this. I think that this is something that, again, would be a differentiation. And all those people that say, oh, it's a quarterback-driven league and you can't mess with the quarterbacks at all are going to hate it. But one of the main problems I see in the league is that we have hopefully a good set of starters, and then we have a fair gap normally to the backups. And if a team loses their starter, the whole thing is if they can go 2 out of 4 games, they're doing well, this kind of thing. We just don't have backups to do the work. And part of it is they never get the chance. They never have to play. So I think a rule that would adjust that and lead to some really good strategy would be to say that on any team, you've got 3 quarterbacks, any one of them can only take snaps in 3 quarters of the game. They're not allowed to take the snaps in all 4. So that puts your backup in for 1 quarter a game. It means you have to give him more reps to work with it. He has to get more experience. If he goes down, there's a better chance that you're going to have somebody ready to move along and be able to actually take the team somewhere. Plus, I would love to see the strategizing of coaches trying to decide what quarter do you sit out your starter. Do you do it right at the first and let them, and then hope you've got 3 good quarters? Do you keep them in for the first 2 and hope you build a lead and then take them out in the third? I think it could add a lot of unique excitement to the game. So that would be my proposal.
Would you be amenable to percentage of snaps as opposed to like a 1 full quarter?
You might be able to do that, but you don't know until the end of the game how many percentage of snaps you would have. The quarter makes it a nice, clear thing. Anything, I mean, if it turned out to be 10 minutes, I would be happy with it. Anything that just make sure that the backups have to be in there, learning their skills and improving. Because we really, besides having trouble getting a quarterback when yours goes down, if you have a quarterback retiring, trying to get someone young and new who's looks good is, I mean, look what Ottawa's gone through. They thought they had it with Drew Brown, but no. And how long did Montreal fight trying to find a quarterback? So if nothing else, this would at least increase your pool of younger quarterbacks coming up ready to take over. And I know probably the ones that love the quarterbacks would say, oh, you can't do that. You can't throw the quarterback out of rhythm. You can do whatever you want in a game if you put the rules in and they adjust to it. And they've adjusted well to other things. So anyway, I'm done. That's my soapbox.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm thinking you hate it, GT.
I'd have to think about that one. I'm not sure I 100% with you on that one.
Yeah,
but
I can tell by the stone face. But that's okay. We don't have to all agree. Just be careful what you ask for, because I've got wild ideas when we start getting into these things. Okay. Anything else to talk about here? Nope. So let's go on to the games then. We only had 3 of them this weekend, and I will say right off the top, we'll talk about it probably more in each game, but I figured the official nickname for this weekend is Sack-a-Palooza, because there was only one team that only got 1 sack. Everybody else had 2 or more. And the one that had 1 sack was the Riders, who I think are leading the league. I'm not sure. They're certainly up there. But anyway, so they started, and we'll talk about the Friday night game first of all. Saskatchewan went into Ottawa. Frankly, I didn't think it was a fantastic game by any means. The Blacks, who were supposedly fighting for their playoff lives, looked very flat. But mind you, it was such a long shot, I can sort of see that. And the Riders, it seems to me right now, they're just in a workman-like attitude. Let's get this last win to get first place, get some people some time off to recover, because our backfield's in such disarray and whatnot. And they made some mistakes out there, but basically that was it. It didn't seem like it was a lot of passion. It was just, let's do what we have to do. And they ended up with the win, but not necessarily pretty. Brown threw 3 interceptions and got replaced. Coming out of halftime, they asked Bob, Brown had thrown 2 interceptions, and they asked Bob Dice, will Brown be playing the second half? And he said, well, he's starting it. And went out on his first throw and threw another interception, and that was the last we saw of him. Dustin Crum came in from there. But got some other stuff we can talk about, but that was sort of the general impressions of the things. Crum did come back a bit and made it a little bit of a game, but it was never really close, I didn't think. What did the 2 of you think about it?
I did not, unfortunately, I did not get to see the game. It was a very busy weekend in my household, so I didn't get to see that game. So I only saw the highlight package. I didn't even watch it on replay. I didn't get time. So, but what I did see was it felt like the Riders should have won bigger than they did, considering, that the way that the Red Blacks were playing. Even though they won relatively easily, as you said, they still should have won even more easily. It looked like they're still, you said they're like just getting through it. They look like they're struggling through it. They're winning, but the last few games, they're not as sharp as you. Somehow they're just not clicking like that super clicking poise that they had earlier in the season. So we'll see. a comment from Mace saying, that those corners need to get in the gym and get back to being in shape, or whatever his full comment was a pretty strong indication that he's not real happy with his work ethic out there right now. So on his defense. So yeah, it's interesting.
Right.
I mean, right now they're still I think the favorite, but they better start looking over their shoulder because there's a couple teams coming.
Yeah. Well, frankly, at this point, Calgary's the only one that can catch them.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about. I mean, period, playoff, period, just period. Yeah, yeah,
I'll give you that. Yeah. And his comment about them getting in the workout room, living in the workout room, is trying to rehab their injuries, because that's
right.
the scary part about this game. We can talk about it when we get to the sort of the predictions going ahead. But at this point, it looks like it's probably at least a 50-50 chance that they will have one of their starting five in the defensive backfield. And the rest, and I don't know where they're going to get anybody else from, because they've already got backup players in a couple of the positions. If they lose Milligan and Sales as well, it's going to be tough. But that's for later. Anything else?
Well,
Yes.
so I was only going to say the only other play was one of the most outstanding plays of the year. Again, was that stack fumble by Carter, where he just took off down the field. When that ball popped up, he caught it perfectly cleanly. And then going back, old man, to what you've said all year, is it's the effort to get back and chase those guys down. And Ouellette's effort was outstanding.
I love that. Yeah,
So it was a great play all the way around. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was struggling with, what do you call that? It's not a strip sack precisely, because it was actually an interception.
Yeah.
So was it a strip intersect? It was a great play by everybody. And yeah, AJ just not giving up on it. That's when my heart's just ba-bum, ba-bum. I love that football.
Yeah.
Yeah, he felt like he was the only rider hustling.
Yeah, in some ways true.
Yeah. My few things. First of all, why is lighting so bad at this stadium? On my TV, it looked like it was in a grayscale.
Yeah.
It looked grayscale, and I was like, interesting. It's like watching old-timey football.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of opinions about it, but nothing definitive.
I don't hate it. It's just weird. We talked about the kicking issues. Poor guy. Tough first day on the job. Apparently he was like extremely nervous to start that game, and it really showed. So if he's playing, hopefully he settles down. Blanchard did in Edmonton, as we talked about. So I'm not too worried about him, but they signed another kicker. So I think they have some insurance there. The Riders let that go on too long. It's past the trade deadline. There's nothing you can do about it. So they've dug their own grave there. The Red Blacks infuriate me. They have Eugene Lewis, Pimpleton, Addison, Hardy. Stanback is not a slouch at running back. You have so many weapons. And Drew, I just think he's done. He's done. It looked like those interceptions weren't even like, I fought for that interception. That was, I threw it to you.
Yes.
And it just hit you, and you had no choice but to catch it.
Yeah, and second game in a row like that.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I will say that I said this about Brown last year when they had such a good year. There was close to double-digit times that I saw that he should have been picked off last year and would have changed games a lot, and he was just getting DBs dropping them and fumbling them and everything. And that luck isn't with him this year. I think it was 3 interceptions a week ago and then 3 this week again. And like you said, not even necessarily tip balls or somebody was out of position. It was just bad.
So when you have that and you have as many injuries he's had this year, I don't think any team's going to risk taking a chance on him next year. And I assume all of this is because Bob Dice's dog was not on the field before the game.
Could be. Everybody knows sports is superstition. If you do something and it works, keep doing it.
He was on the field and they won. Surely that you just keep bringing the dog on the field. I don't understand why this is not common knowledge, but I feel bad for Ottawa. They know what they need. They need a ex-Stampeder, ex-Ticat quarterback to come in there. They love doing that. That worked last time, so.
Yeah. Okay. So you think Bo's heading over to?
Well, I mean, it's the only one that fits the profile, but they did it with Burris.
Yep. Exactly.
I don't know
That
what
was
they're
the
gonna do
path.
there.
I don't know. The whole time in the league, they've never been a strong team. I think they've had like winning records 3 of their 11 years, but they've at least been getting into the playoffs, and they did get the one Grey Cup. And it just seems like lately it starts to go downhill at some point in mid-season or earlier, and just they never come back.
Like, you think, like, at least the Elks, you feel like this year they're trying.
Yeah.
Like the last couple of years, at least you know that they're trying to fix things. And this Ottawa just feels like they do not care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you see, I don't know necessarily agree with that, MJ, only because you look at the players that you just mentioned. They've brought in some really good players. Yeah, they went out even a few years ago and signed Drew Desjardins back when he came back from the NFL, and he was supposedly the best, offensive lineman in the league at that point. People were drooling trying to get him to sign when he came back from the NFL, and they managed to do that. They went out and signed the next hotshot quarterback in Drew Brown when, everybody said he was the next hotshot quarterback. Then they went out and got him Eugene Lewis, adding to that staff, and they went and got, everybody said, but they have no running game. So they went out and got Stanbeck. So
you're right.
So they've tried. It's not like they're just going through the motions. Yeah. They just didn't do it all at once like Edmonton did. That's the difference.
Is it a coaching issue? Is it a management issue? There's something that's not working out?
Yeah, I agree with you there too. There's something that's not working. I can't pinpoint it but I believe it's coaching. I've said for a couple of years, Dice is a nice guy, but I don't think he's a head coach. And we said the same thing about Lapo. He was a great coordinator, but he was not a great head coach. And they should have, so there's 2 bad decisions in a row. They just need to make the right decision at head coach and then get that program turned around. And if that's Sean Burke, maybe Sean Burke's not the guy at GM. Maybe, but again, he's gone out and signed the players. He's done what he needs to do to give the team on paper an opportunity. So
he's also signing coaches though.
Yeah.
No, he signs Dice, and then Dice signs his coaches, right?
Well,
right. The head coach always picks this coaching staff. Yeah. Right. So I don't think Burke is involved in every level. I don't think any general manager is. So anyway, I just think, I think it's coaching from top to bottom. And I think that they need to clean house again. And unfortunately, as I said earlier in the year, I think the last year was a sweepstakes for coaches. And now there's just not there. There's just not the next great assistant sitting there waiting to be hired. The only guy I can think of that might make that team go somewhere is stealing, the defensive coordinator in Montreal. That's about the only thing that I can think that might work because he's, that's the only guy that's you can say there's a guy.
You know who Lewis wants to look at coach with is Jarius Jackson.
That's what I was going to say.
Over there.
Yeah. But I'm not sure Jarius Jackson is I think Jarius Jackson would be another great offensive coordinator. I'm not sure he's a great head coach.
We didn't get to see more than half a season of him in Edmonton, but he had things turned around and going in the right direction. Yeah. And frankly, he'd be the one that would be able to know better than anybody if Trey's really got anything there or if it's all smoke and mirrors. And if it is, maybe you hire Jarius and make the trade for Trey, and that's your way going forward. Because Trey played some pretty damn good games for Jarius.
The trifecta of Jarius, Trey, and Eugene. Add in Pimpleton and Hardy.
Yeah. And while Stanback still has some stuff left in the tank, I would like to see them move on to him and try and pick up someone to tandem with Adam Aboye, who I think is a very good running back, and do it more by committee. But
I just think Ottawa at this point in time, Jarius, again, this is just my opinion, but Jarius Jackson strikes me as another Bob Dice, a really nice guy and a pretty good coach, but isn't a commanding presence that leads a team. I think they need a fire and brimstone, kick in the ass type of coach that's going to not quite Chris Jones, but the next best thing. You
Maybe
know,
Ryan will move over there.
yeah, exactly. Somebody like that. Like that's what they need to get that organization kickstarted again. And I think the fans need that to know that there is a take no prisoners and we're not putting up with this. It's either get it together or get out type of, we're not lollygagging players around here anymore.
Okay,
I think
like,
that's what the fans want
not Chris
and need.
Jones though. Not Chris
No,
Jones.
no,
though.
absolutely
No,
no,
definitely not. No.
no.
No,
But that would
never.
just extend it another 10 years or whatever. No.
Yeah,
And the problem is, other than Noel Prefontaine out of is that their name? No, what's the DC in Montreal?
But see, I drew a blank too, and I know exactly who
Noel,
it is.
I know it's
know who
Noel,
it is.
Yeah.
But I can't think of it. Anyway, but other than him, I don't know that there's a coach in the league right now that at any sort of level below or from the coordinator up that fits that description.
This all circles back to the coach's cap.
Yeah. Yep.
This is why there's no room for development when Chris Jones, this all circles back to him.
Yes, because he was the reason we have it. Yep. And
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Anyway, we got lots of time to solve Ottawa's problems as we get closer to the off season. Let's finish this off. I got a couple other quick notes. I said our Riders' new punter really was not very good. He was either putting them out of bounds or straight down the center of the field mostly, which was leaving those returns for Pimpleton. But he was certainly better than the new kicker was. Yeah, because Campbell Fair had 2 convert attempts and missed them the second one by a mile. And admittedly, working with a new holder and all that, but it didn't look impressive.
Oh, we gave Lawther a pass for the new holder, though.
Yeah, well, yeah. Who knows? Maybe the Fair will get better, but he has bounced around a lot of practice rosters. Also, I wanted to make sure that we gave credit to Antoine Brooks III for a very nice pick 6. He just baited Brown into making a pass that looked like it was open and then took it back. And he's obviously a much better Sam than he is a corner, because he's the one that Belford beat for his was at least 2 touchdowns when they played Calgary in the first game. And Campbell was out and Brooks was on the corner and Elford got behind him more than they should have. And did I have anything else? Oh yeah, there was one point, I think it was in the third quarter, where the Riders got a nice run out of a play and it got called back from an unnecessary roughness. And basically looking at it, Pete Collins, the left tackle for the Riders, was making a block on the D end who went down and between them pulled Collins down on top of him, and that was called unnecessary roughness. And I was hot under the collar. And then once I started to cool down a little bit, the rational part of my brain jumped in and said, yeah, but don't forget earlier in the game, they called Santos Knox on a 15-yard horse collar that was completely phantom. So not the best officiating, but at least it kind of balanced out. And I don't know that I've got anything else that I can talk about. Oh, one other thing. I keep harping on the coaches' desperation challenges. Ottawa got a punt return touchdown from, I think it was punt return. Anyway, return touchdown from Pimpleton. He got sprung at the point of attack by one of the Ottawa players coming up, and the full camera was basically, the screen was filled of this guy coming up and shoving the rider from behind to give Pimpleton a lane through. And when they made the penalty call, Dice decided, I'm going to challenge that. There's got to be some way that they'll find to say that's legal, and it wasn't even close.
Honestly, I think that was partly to keep Pimpleton from destroying the locker room.
It might have been, but it came out as desperation. Anyway, anything else from you guys? Or it was.
It's a sad,
anything
sad
else
game.
From either of you? No. Okay, so then, MJ, do you want to tell us about a game that was also interesting and, I don't know if I'd say impressive, but interesting? Hamilton 47 at Toronto 29.
This is my top line note. Argos eliminated from playoffs by the Hamilton Tiger Cats in Toronto.
And there was
on
much
Bill's
rejoicing.
Argos Dame in front of Doug Flutie. Ha ha ha, Argos suck.
Yes. And don't forget Chad's uncle. He was there too.
Oh, yes. Well, I don't care what he is. Doug Flutie was there.
Yes.
I felt bad for the Argos. Arbuckle, I missed the play. I turned the game on and Daggy's in, and I'm like, surely I missed the injury report that Arbuckle. I'm like, I picked Arbuckle. My fantasy went first play of the game. Taken out, sacked, injured, out. Daggy in, and wow, the Hamilton Tiger Cat defense just went from there, huh? Let me write. Fisher had 10 tackles. Castantonis had 8 tackles and 3 interceptions. Hauser had 4 sacks. Osai had 3 sacks. There was 9 sacks total, 4 interceptions. Bo and Kenny had a little field day, and in fact, Doug Flutie went over and talked to them after one of their touchdowns. And I think before that, on the it was the TikTok live game. I think before that, Bo had gone over and poked the bear a little bit, like he did that with Luke Wilson too. He just kind of like to see, like just I'm here to ruin the party. And then I was like, surely it is safe now to flip over to the Toronto Blue Jays game. No problem. Ticats have it. I can watch Blue Jays in peace. I'll just keep an eye on it a little bit. And then the third quarter happened, and the Ticats scored no points. And I was like, well, I best just flip back over and bring the vibes back, because they felt it was like 2-score game by that point. I was like, after this defensive stats I just read you, whoa! But then Ticats turned it on in the fourth and put it to bed. We got an elusive safety points. Those don't happen very often. Very excited.
Yep.
All the players are doing their safety sign. That was fun. And Castatonis almost had 4 sacks. And what a game for the Ticat defense, and what a game for the Buffalo Bills
Yes.
to lose
And you
their
didn't even
playoff
mention
hopes.
O'Leary Orange going on fire.
Yes!
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the Argos planned on that either. Who knew? Or Larry Orange can catch a deep pass.
Yeah. 2 attempts, 2 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
the time I don't take him as my cheapo fantasy pick, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I had him as my cheapo, but he was just too expensive, so I had to drop it down.
Ah,
And
no.
but he was the guy I was gonna go with as my cheapo. And then but he was like, oh, I had like $4,800. I think he was 5,200 or something, and I couldn't get there. So yeah.
and I mean, this is the one game he's ever done that. But anyway,
It's because it was Bill's Argos day with Doug Flutie there.
It could be. Did you
Yeah.
get a chance to see this one for the weekend, GT? Or?
Yeah, I was at the
Oh,
game.
yeah, you were there,
and-
right?
Yeah, I was at the game, and it
Front
was
row
it was Hamilton redemption for the weekend before. Basically, they came out firing. They were not going to let Toronto win that game. Arbuckle was, as you said, injured. I have it on the second play, but either the first or the second.
one of the, yeah.
First or the second play of the game. And again, he came off the field. He got sacked and he was limping. And my brother-in-law said to me, he's limping again. And I said, yeah. And look he's holding his arm. They're dragging down. He ran immediately to the tent. We watched and we were like, where is he? He's not there. And Daggy was warming up. We said, he's not coming back. And then he was done. And now he's done for the year. So that was it. The game was over at that stage. It was already over at that stage. We knew it. The rest was just playing it out. And it took another 59 minutes for it to play out the way it did. Toronto got within 10, but that's as close as they got. And then Hamilton, went back on the march again. So, yeah, it was wild. A Bo was throwing darts and, yeah. And I will say that it showed again that Daggy is not, I don't think he's a full-time quarterback. I mean, he doesn't have the arm. A lot of those interceptions were just like floaters. They wouldn't have been intercepted if the ball had been there fast enough. He just doesn't have the arm to throw the long out. And that's a big problem. And it's going to continue because they're not changing the width of the field.
Yeah.
Yet.
So yeah, when those aren't there fast enough, it makes it easier for the for DBs to get in front of them, and that's what happened regularly throughout that game. And Toronto's offensive line looked like it did in the first 3 weeks of the season, just horrible. They couldn't block or stop anybody, and Hamilton was running amok. So it was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful day to be outside. It was smoking hot. It was 29 degrees. The boats were on the lake. The Lancaster flew over, not on a fly pass, but it flew over the stadium. It was a beautiful day to be sitting outside enjoying a rout.
Good. Well, yes, but I will point out, and with all full respect to MJ, the fans of the Tiger Cats and all, the Argos with, like you said, a quarterback on his third professional starts with a bit of a questionable arm, put up 29 points against them. So that's something.
No, I am very concerned.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll take this win.
Yeah. I got to tell you, though, the entire game, for me, it had its ups and its downs, and it was exciting, but the most emotional response I had all game wasn't to anything that happened on the field. Was at one point, coming out of a commercial break, they did a shot. It's still the CN Towers in Toronto, isn't it? Or have they changed the name?
Oh, yes, it
Rogers
is.
Tower. No, it is CN
No,
yeah,
it's
probably
CN
Rogers Tower. Anyway, they had a shot of the top of the CN Tower, and it's got around the outside of it a metal grid walkway that looks like it's about 3 feet wide with no guardrails on it. And they had about 8 or 10 people up on their in vests walking along. And I'm not good with heights. And just watching that made my stomach flip.
You can also do that. You can also hang off of it on a wire.
No, I can't. Others maybe can. I can't.
So the most excitement from the crowd was at one point. So one of the end zones, renovating one of the end zones, the north end zone for the Soccer World Cup next week. And so they're putting in stands and so on. So right now it's a complete construction zone. So when a team kicks a field goal out of that side, it generally goes right out of the stadium and into this construction zone. But the Ticats kicked a field goal late in the game and went into the construction zone, and some kid was running around looking for the ball. The crowd, and so he was doing this, and the crowd was directing him back and forth. And the crowd was so into it, the entire stadium. And you could see people down low that didn't know what was going on. Like, what is going on? The players are like, what's going on? You could even see them. It was hilarious. And it was so good that it even overshadowed the dumbest thing in football, which is, Sweet Caroline. So like even the crowd even ignored Neil Diamond to watch this guy. That's how much fun it was. Yeah. So it was, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
That was great. But again, that shows you what kind of game it was as well.
I'm glad they had something to cheer about.
Yeah.
Yes. There was also a challenge from Milanovic and on challenging a PI that wasn't called. Now, did you get a good look at the play, JT? And do you remember it? Do you think that it should have been a PI?
Oh, I called that as that was in the middle of the field, and it was a low, two guys going down, both going down low, right? Early in the third, maybe. Anyways, I said I think that's PI as soon as it went down. But I said I'm not sure if it is, but I think it is from up here. And then they took forever, and then I thought, okay, they're not even going to challenge it, so I guess it wasn't. And then they finally threw the flag just as they got back on the field, and then it wasn't, right?
It wasn't, yeah. And what happened, you could see a little bit more what was going on the sidelines. It was obvious that Milanovic had decided he was going to challenge it. He ran the 20 seconds off the play clock and threw the flag with a second left. But with all that extra time, I don't understand why his spotters were still telling him to challenge it, because what became apparent once they went into it in the game and they start showing us, is this PI or is it not? It looked very much like it should have been, but there were no angles that showed it.
Right.
Every angle, the play was obscured, so you couldn't overturn it based on that. And I would have thought that they'd be smart enough to go. And again, they're up by quite a bit at that time. It didn't make a big difference. So I don't get paid to coach. And then the last question I have for both of you is, am I seeing things, or I'm wondering if Janarian Grant is maybe playing fairly nicked up because he just doesn't seem to have the burst that he normally has anymore.
Yeah, no, he's definitely, he hasn't taken one a long way in quite a few games. So he either is, again, back in that funk that he was in when he left Winnipeg, or he's just a little nicked. Yeah, but he's not playing like last year or even earlier in this year.
Yeah, because I've seen in the last few weeks, I've seen at least 3 or 4 times where it looked like he had the angle to the outside. I've seen him take it before, and he's ended up stopping and cutting it back inside. Any other comments on the game? No?
Nope.
So we'll move on to
Yeah.
the next game. Unfortunately, this is not the week for you to be as happy, GT, but do you want to tell us about Calgary 2038?
Well, it was, as I called it, is wash, rinse, repeat. It's the same. It's the same thing. It is just the last 3 weeks is the last, or 4 weeks now, is every game's the same. I said it last week. The offense can't stay on the field and the defense can't get off it. There's a couple plays here and there that you can talk about. The long bomb to the Moose was nice, and there was a couple of other passes that Vernon threw, but there was way too many sacks, as there has been the last few games. The offensive line is really not playing up to the full standard that I expect them to, and like they were early in the year. And yeah, I'm just blaming everything on Craig Dickerson's post-Labor Day slump curse that he's moved over from green and white to red and white. And it's Craig's fault. It's just Craig's fault.
Could be.
But right now, like I said before the game, they are, of the 4 teams, to quote Mr. Dinwiddie, they're the pretenders. They're not a contender. They're a pretender. They will not make it out of the first round. They're playing like this. They'll get in. They might even end up I wouldn't be surprised if they're the crossover team. But at this stage, falling behind Winnipeg. But they won't get out of the East either. I just can't see it. So they're a pretender. They're a one and done in the playoffs, no matter who they play, as far as I'm concerned, unless something dramatic happens and they can get out of this. But at this stage, I don't see it. I just don't see it. They're not playing well enough to say that, oh, it's just a fluke. No, they're playing bad football, and they're in all 3 phases. It's just not there. So they're lucky that. They're lucky they won a whole bunch of games early. Right now, they're otherwise they wouldn't. They'd be where we predicted them to be, last place in the West.
Yeah, they need to put something together. I think it was Joe on Rouge, White, and Blue last night that was pointing out that it's not all that implausible that the Week 21 game between the Elk and the Stampeders could be for 4th place.
I can't see it. I still don't think Edmonton's that good. Edmonton's 2 games behind. I can't see Edmonton winning 2 more games before that game and Calgary losing 2 more games before that game. So I don't think it'll be. I think Edmonton's going to lose. My prediction is they'll lose this weekend.
I think they will, but they do if they. And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this is the stuff he was pointing out. If they were to beat Calgary in that final game, they do only need one other victory, providing Calgary doesn't gain more wins than that. So it's possible, but who knows? No, it's going to be hard to tell. I hope they can get stuff put together, because it is unfortunate that a team that was playing that well, and it seems like to me that once they've stopped being able to generate a real good pass rush with 4, and once that stopped, it's slid downhill.
Yeah, well, again, I think if people figured out the defense, and I think Vernon's just still in his head. He's just still not. He's like, he threw some interceptions the other day that were Drew Brown-esque. They were just like right to defensive backs, and he's holding the ball too long. The only passes that looked good were the ones that he got out of his hands in a hurry. You looked across the field, and that's exactly what Nathan Rourke was doing. And again, when Rourke was even scrambling and throwing tight, like when he was because he was under actually a lot of pressure. Calgary got quite a few sacks as well, but
they got 3.
But Rourke was also able to, even under that pressure, locate and then find and throw to his receivers who made the catch. Vernon wasn't doing that.
Well, and poor VA, both Mills and Philpott in the red zone had balls hit their hands.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, though, as bad as VA's playing, his receivers are not helping.
Nope. I agree.
No.
What a disaster there.
Yeah. And I would like to point out that as much as it looked like it was a BC thumping, and you could pick out a lot of things that Calgary made mistakes on or underperformed on, BC did too. And don't forget, with 40 seconds left in the first half, they got the ball and somehow managed to get in and get a touchdown. And then they took the kickoff in the second half and marched it down for the touchdown. So they double dipped for 14 points in 3 minutes there. If those had been stopped by Calgary, it could be a completely different game. The margin of victory was 14. So I didn't feel like the teams were as far apart as the score and some of the play made it look.
I think this is to the parity of the league this year because, the Riders should have doubled their score against the Red Blacks. The Ticats scored 3 against the Riders and then stomped on the Argos. And the Stamps, they are in trouble, but they were close again. So these games are all tight, and it just kind of shows that there's only 1 or 2 things that are really going to make or break these. So, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to swallow, though. Close games hurt, or 2 plays hurt.
Yeah. And it's been a weird year in the West. I mean, there's still some games to play where teams have to play each other. But if you look at to this point, Calgary has swept Saskatchewan and Winnipeg. Winnipeg has swept BC. Saskatchewan has swept Winnipeg and BC. And BC has swept Calgary. So try and make some sense out of it. It's just, I don't know. The only other takeaway that I have from this is that I think if I manage to somehow get through the semifinals and get into the league final when BC's playing again, Horvath is going to be my cheap running back. Because they put him in and he got another, 42-yard touchdown at the end of the game. So if I'm going to be spending $2,500 on somebody, I might as well take him and pray.
Yeah.
Anything else, or do we move on?
I have a couple things. Like the Rourke Hatcher Butler Wrecking Crew is coming along nicely. Good luck, other teams. And then my Nathan Rourke, he walked into the game wearing a PWHL bomber jacket.
I didn't see.
Yeah, it looked good. I love that. I love them because they're Vancouver's getting a PWHL team, so Nathan's on the pulse. And as annoyance, well, I have 2 Calgary things. One, I'll stick up for my kid here. Do not sell a Damien Alford Moose's Loose shirt and make us all buy it and then never throw to him again. They threw to him once. Like the disaster of my kid, he's always looking for Alfred on the field. Every time the Stamps set up, he's looking on the wide side to see if he can see him, and 80% of the time he's not there. The TSN shady moments were all courtesy of the Stamps. The VA and Brooks were bickering on the sideline at one point, and then they panned over to VA just sitting on the bench, just all sprawled out, looking sad panda. So he looked pretty bad. But then he came back, and then Barnes and Rhymes with TDs, so he pulled himself together a little bit. I mean, it's just not by then it's too late, right?
They started to make a game of it a bit, yeah. And with Alfred, again, maybe it's just that he's a rookie and they're not using him so much, but I wonder, it was a hamstring that he got injured on, and those can, as we saw with Alexander in Montreal, those can linger for a long time. So I'm wondering if he's not seeing as much time on the field just because he's still not quite where they want him to be, and they've got Barnes and Philpott.
We were all having a lot more fun when we were making moose ears.
Yep.
Antlers. Yeah.
I would love to see
Things
more
were
of
a lot
that.
more fun in Calgary.
Well, and
Not
I think
so
the
much lately.
Calgary fans would be too, because if you get him playing more, then that would solve a lot of the offensive woes. Because again, VA doesn't have to be spot on with him. He's got a radius that if you throw it in the same area code as him, he's probably going to have a shot at it.
Well, and if you can't fix your defense, you have to outgun them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. Anything else there?
Nope.
No. So that's the week capped up. All we got to do now is, and we're only a minute and 10, 12, or an hour and 12 minutes in. This is a shorty with the 3 games. So let's see how long it takes us to talk about the games, because we have Toronto at Saskatchewan on the Friday night. And this one is going to be tough to pick, I think.
Jared Dagey and Tucker Horn as quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Arbuckle's done for the year.
Maybe they'll pick up Cameron Dukes, that he's free agent. He knows the playbook.
Yeah, it could be. So you would think this should be a Saskatchewan walkover, but given the chance they may be playing against the, as I said a couple of weeks ago, the Saskatoon Hilltops defensive backfield, even Dagey may be able to score some points. I'm actually a little worried about this one. Hopefully they can put something together, because they are very vulnerable there. And like I said, Toronto scored 29 points on Hamilton. with Daggy in there. So I'm still going to go Saskatchewan, just cause. And it seems like it's still the safer bet. And I'm hoping that they get at least one or two of them back. Like they've got Campbell was on limited as opposed to do not participate this weekend. I believe Jackson Ford was back to limited. So maybe. And then it's the rest of them. But yeah, I'll go Saskatchewan. How about the rest of you?
Yeah, I'm going Saskatchewan.
Got your tarot cards this week, MJ?
Well, I did. Do you want to hear them? I wasn't going to tell them, but I can.
Well, you look like you're having trouble making a decision.
Toronto's like King of Pentacles, which is just apathy. And the Riders have the Hangman, which is if your effort's wearing them down, and if you're putting off a decision to avoid confrontation, it may come back to hurt you.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Like maybe a kicker?
Like maybe a kicker. Oh man, it's so bad. It's so bad. If the Saskatchewan DBs are as bad, but I don't know, they had a terrible defensive back and they beat Hamilton badly, so it's in
Yeah, but they weren't that
Saskatchewan.
bad. They had basically this safety down in that game. We saw what
Was
happened
Toronto
in
better
Montreal
than-
when they had two backup corners in, two rookie corners and a rookie safety. Now they've got Milligan looking like he may be out as well, and they've moved CJ Rivas back to safety. So CJ Rivas has been there all along, but it's Sam. And him and DeMarcus Fields are the only two that are from that original six group. And they put
Is
Antoine Brooks in
Daggy-
at Sam, and they put, what's his name, Sapp the third at one corner. I don't know who else they've got. It'll be practice roster guys.
Is Daggy gonna make their DBs look like all-stars, though? I'm
Well, you could
concerned.
do.
You know what? I'll pick the Riders.
I think it's still the safer bet, but I'm going to
It's
make
gonna
sure
be
that I have something to calm my nerves on hand if need be.
Yeah, you're gonna need it, I think. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a weird one.
Well, I just I sometimes indulge in smoking a little gunja if the nerves are getting bad, so I may just preemptively have some for that
Fair.
game. Then I can sit there, la la la. Oh look, another pick six.
Fine, it's
Toronto's up
fine.
32-3. Okay, next game. Calgary and Hamilton. Calgary at Hamilton. I'm going to let one of you two go first this time.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
It's at home. It's at home. They're playing better football, and I haven't seen anything in the last 2 weeks that says Calgary's getting out of this slump. If I saw something that said, "Oh yeah, they're playing remarkably better," and they just lost a tight one, like I thought they were, I thought it would be closer against BC. I don't see anything there that says they're getting out of this slump.
Yeah. This is gonna really. Which Hamilton team is showing up for this game?
Well, if it makes a difference, they win this and they clinch first place.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. You know what? I think they're gonna win, but I think Calgary's gonna give them trouble because Hamilton has trouble lately. They won that 6 games in a row, and now they seem to have trouble stringing anything together. But maybe the defense is so fired up from this past game, they're just flying high. Oh, yeah.
Calgary, I think Calgary's had a pretty bad record in Hamilton over the last few years, too. Maybe it's just my brain, but it seems to me whenever I've driven there and gone to the game, they've lost. So it's not been, the last few years have not been good for them there.
Are you going to this game?
No, unfortunately, the family has decided that is the day we're doing dinner, so I am not able to go to the game.
So maybe Calgary will win because GT
Maybe,
will be
maybe
there.
that's the issue.
Okay, I'll pick Ticats. GT's not going to be there. I'll pick Ticats.
Yeah. No, it's weird how sometimes administrations change, players change, but some things like that just seem to carry on,
Yeah.
and it has been a struggle there. I think I'm taking Hamilton too, but I will say that I don't quite understand the funk that VA's in, and if there's a defense in the league for him to break out of the funk, this could be it. It could be a high-scoring game, and it'll be interesting to see if all of a sudden we're looking in going at big play VA and Bow shootout, and it turns out to be Mills and Bell that carry the day.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to
You
see
just know
them
it
both
will.
having over 100 yards rushing, because neither of the run defenses have been good lately. Mind you, that Calgary's got Markel Lee back in now, and I didn't really see how much of it he was making an effect on the run, but given how he played earlier, he should shore that up. I don't Butler didn't get a lot of long runs. Thinking back on it, his bigger gains were all on swing passes and stuff.
He had, where's my, I don't know. Oh, he had 97 yards receiving and 42 yards rushing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that tracks. And the thing is, Bell's kind of the same sort of player. So we'll see. But we're all at this point. Let me just recap here. I think we all said Saskatchewan, did we not?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we all went with Hamilton. So that takes us to where we may have some differences, as we'll see. Winnipeg at Edmonton on the Saturday afternoon.
They're both coming off of byes.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Edmonton. Edmonton's been more consistent recently versus Winnipeg has been more schizophrenic, but when they're good, they're really good.
Yes.
As evidenced last week. And they have something to play for too, because if they win, it gives them a lock. So yeah, I'm taking Winnipeg. I still think Winnipeg's a better team. So I think Winnipeg.
Okay. You want to go, MJ, or should I jump in?
It is my mom's birthday next week, and the Elks are going to win for her.
All right. Well, that means that the podcast is also taking Edmonton, because it's entirely possible that Zach will come out and play out of his mind again, but he doesn't do that 2 games in a row generally. They're out of town, they're off the bye, and yeah, I just think Edmonton's been playing better football overall, like you said, more consistently. So probably by a field goal, maybe. It's not going to be huge, but I could see Edmonton taking this. I've become a Cody believer again. So that gives us our last one.
I think this lives or dies on whether they can get ranking going.
Pretty much, because even that big game where they beat Saskatchewan, they weren't pulling ahead, or it was a close game, but they weren't pulling ahead until they suddenly got him activated late, and when the defense got tired, and yeah, he makes a big difference. So then we go to the Monday. We have to wait till Monday with it being Thanksgiving, and it's the traditional Monday game, Ottawa at Montreal.
Yeah,
I'll say Montreal because it's easy.
As I said last week when it was Saskatchewan at Ottawa, there's no reason for Saskatchewan to lose that game, and there's no reason for Montreal to lose this week. There's just no reason for Montreal to lose this week.
Yeah, the only thing the only way that I see Montreal coming out and losing this, and I don't expect it to happen, but depending how healthy all their players are, if Hamilton beats Calgary first, then they've got first place, and Montreal has second place anyway. So is there a chance they already go into the game saying, well, we're going to take these few players off and rest them, and that might make it more competitive, but I still think they win. I mean, the one player they're not going to take out is Alexander, because he's 8 for 8 or 9 for 9, isn't it now, at the start of his career, but he's also basically a first-year starter who needs every rep he can get.
Yeah.
And who missed half the season.
Yeah, exactly. He's missed half the season. Yeah. So yeah.
This will be just I thought this game would be like target practice. I feel like Montreal's probably gonna practice some trick plays and some 2-point converge just to have some practice. I'm
hoping the Ottawa defense stands up enough to at least limit Montreal to some field goals, so your son will get to see the flex.
Yeah. if we don't see some moose antlers, then hopefully we see some flexing.
Yeah. And hey,
Noel
Thorpe, yes. Prefontaine was a player years ago. I think a receiver. I don't know how I got that, but Noel Thorpe, that makes sense. Yes.
Prefontaine was the kicker for Argos.
Oh, was he kicker? Okay, see.
Yeah, I was like, he was a kicker.
Old man memory. Some stuff is just locked in here. I never forget. Other stuff floats around and gets mixed up. Who knows? It becomes a bit of a soup.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I think we're through to the end. So the usual, any closing thoughts, and where can people follow you?
Well, I have this closing shot, but no closing thought. So how's that? And you can follow me at DT Barnum on Blue Sky.
You can find all my manic Blue Jay posting and CFL musings at Sports and Plants on Blue Sky.
Okay. And I'll try and get out of here while my mouth still sort of works a little bit, just barely. So you can get me at Oldman-SAC on Blue Sky. We're also on X and Blue Sky and Instagram as at the CFL Outsiders. If you want to go to old-fashioned email, which nobody's ever taken me up on, so I think I'll just drop it next year, but we'll try it this one more time. You can get us at the oldman.shoutingatclouds@shaw.ca. So reach out, subscribe, please. Podcasters, YouTube, anything that helps us grow the show. It's nice to see a steady stream of people starting to come on in, and it looks like we may actually get to some. I'm not even going to say what the targets we were hoping for, but we're getting nearer to some of them for the year. So we'll have to see how all of that goes. But help us out, please. Give us the likes, give us the comments, rate and review on the podcast, any of that stuff. All the stuff that we ask you to do and nobody ever takes the time to do, including me. Since I've been begging to people a lot, I've taken more time to actually do that for others now. So let's all pay it forward and just help us out with that. And otherwise, we'll see those of you that tune in on Friday for Old Man Plays CFL Fantasy. See how I do going up against Rouge Dolts. And I'm in a bit of a pickle without BC. My big three for the last 2 weeks when I needed big games were Nathan, Hatcher, and McInnes. And they're not there for me this week. So I got some summon to do in my head and figure it all out. But we'll see how that all turns out on Friday. You'll learn there. And until next week, for GT and MJ, this is Old Man saying, get the hell off my lawn.